Hi, it's Tim from Bench Revolution, and today we're going to talk about some quick tips about how to take care of a cassette. Let's roll. As you probably know, over time your chain will wear out. As it wears out, it stretches, they say, but it actually just kind of wears those rollers in the middle. And then what happens is the cassette and the chain mesh together. The cassette kind of wears at the same time. So after you've replaced the chain, maybe the second time you replace the chain, you should also replace the cassette, this piece. So you may also want to take the cassette off to clean the system, give it a good deep cleaning, or get to the hub to adjust something or to clean the hub. But knowing how to take the cassette off is essential to getting the job done. So what kind of tools will you need? You'll need some special tools and some ones that aren't so special. We'll start with the ones that are not so special. So you need an adjustable wrench like this. Pretty much everybody has one of these. You'll also need some sort of a chain tool. You could probably make this yourself out of a bit of chain and a stick if you want to do that. There are fancier ones that we use, like this one, a little fancier grippy thing. We use this one quite a bit. And the most important tool you'll need is the special fitting that takes off the lock nut in the middle. So step one, if you've just taken your wheel off the bike, step one is to remove the skewer. So you just unwind that, pull that out, and then we'll put it back together so we don't lose track of where it is. We'll set that off to the side. Next, you have to figure out what fitting you're going to need to use to take the cassette off. So in this case, I've already checked this. You're probably surprised that I've done some pre-planning. But this one, you can see, fits right inside there. Now, the issue is if you have to unwind the cassette to loosen it to the left, it's never going to work because it'll just be loose. So you have to hold against this from turning. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to use a chain tool. Just like this. Okay, now that we've got our tools, we can just put the fitting in there. It should only go one way, and if you have the right one, it fits. If not, it won't fit. So the goal is we're going to try and turn it, this piece, counterclockwise. So we're going to hold against the rotation with this tool. And then we're going to fit this on here. Once you got your tool fitting in there, you grab your chain whip or chain tool to hold back against the rotation, keep the cassette from moving. Then we're going to grab this, put it in about this position. We're going to give it a pretty good jolt to get it off, to get it loosened, like that. And then from there, it should pretty well. Maybe we'll give it one more. No sense leaving it tight. So we'll just give it a little bit more rotation. Then it just unwinds. If you're doing a chain cleaning, it'd be a great idea to have like a zip tie like this. This is actually one that you can connect and it'll hold things in place. So the great thing about this is you'll know exactly what order you take things off of the cassette and what orientation they are. So now I'm going to try and do it like so I'll take this off, and now we should just be able to unwind this. I don't usually work vertically. Then we'll take our strip, we'll feed it inside here, and now we can just take the pieces off in the order and sequence that they come off. The smaller gears are often loose, and then there's a collection of bigger gears usually. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pop this together. Then we'll come back to this when I show you about how to put it together to reassemble it. So that's all snapped in there. So we're going to talk a little bit about the carrier. The carrier is set up to adapt to the cassette. So this has notches. This has some notches that are varying widths, so they're not all the same width. Okay, so you've got your cassette taken off, and you go, oh no, I need a new cassette because this one's worn out. So what do you look for? It's really easy. There's just a few numbers you have to look for. One is the number of gears, and it usually starts with that. So you would need a 9-speed cassette, for example, to replace a 9-speed cassette. Makes perfect sense, right? Then the next thing you're going to see is a series of 2 numbers, usually 1136, 1134, and what that refers to is the number of teeth on the smallest gear or the high gear, and the number of teeth on the largest gear or the small gear. For example, this is a 9-speed 1136. Let's see if I can spot that right there where my finger is. 1130, 1134, 1136, what did I say? 1134. So that's an 1134. This very similar looking box is actually a 10-speed 1136. But really, that's all you need to do. Just find the right cassette and then pop it onto your bike. Okay, so now you've replaced it. You've replaced your cassette, or bought a new one, or cleaned it, or whatever you want to do. Let's talk about reinstalling it. So we've got our cassette bits here, and they're all loose, but they're all together in the right sequence and orientation. So we're just going to take this part off, hold this in my hand while I take this bit off. So the main collection of gears, you can see here there's different size gaps along there. That's the critical piece to line it up with the right channel. So this wide, see this wide piece here? That one's going to go in that thin, around that thin channel. So we just have to find the thin one here, just like that, and then we're going to put that on in that order. It just fits smooth like that. Okay, so now we've got the rest of the loose bits that we have to put back on. But because we used a strip, we know that they go in this sequence. So, in this orientation. So now we just have to find that same wide notch and fit it on there. And sometimes there's spacers here. So sometimes you need to put a spacer and then a gear. This one's a little easier because it's just gears. But again, we just know the sequence now. So we just look for that wider notch. There it is. And put it onto the right sequence. And then we can set the strip aside. Now I've just got the lock ring, and it just screws on. So how easy is that? So we're going to set it on there. We're going to grab our tool again, and then we're going to give it a hand tighten it first. Yeah, then we're just going to give it a good snugging, technical term. So here we go. Just going to keep it. And that should be tight enough. I pulled it pretty hard. So now it's back on. Put the skewer back in, and we're ready to install it. Here's an old cassette that we took off a customer's bike. So what you're looking for, this one's not terrible, but what you're looking for is these little valleys. They get a lot wider when it starts to wear. And then eventually they get what's called a shark tooth, where these little points get very, very pointy, very sharp, especially in the few gears that you use. You can tell that this guy was primarily in his higher gears, so he's using this range of the cassette, not really so much here at all. Unfortunately, you can't just replace the high gears. You have to get the whole cassette. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and give it a thumbs up and a like, and share with your friends. Comment and I'll probably respond. Thanks.